The winter kindness. The morning snow fell softly over downtown Chicago, coating the streets in a fresh blanket of white. Imogen stood at the bus stop, clutching her nursing textbook against her chest. Her breath formed small clouds in the cold air as she checked her phone again. 7:15. She had exactly 45 minutes to reach St. Margaret's Hospital for her clinical rotation. Emma had always been the quiet one. In her nursing classes, she sat in the back row, taking careful notes but rarely raising her hand. Her professors knew her work was excellent, but her voice was so soft that sometimes they had to lean forward to hear her speak. The other students were friendly enough, but Emma preferred to keep to herself, focusing on her studies and dreaming of the day she would finally become a registered nurse. Today was particularly important. Her clinical instructor, Mrs. Patterson, had made it clear that attendance was mandatory. Missing a shift without proper documentation meant risking her entire grade for the semester. Emma had set 3 alarms that morning, laid out her scrubs the night before, and even prepared her lunch. Everything had to be perfect. The bus arrived, and Emma climbed aboard, finding a seat near the window. She watched the city wake up around her, the snow painting everything in shades of white and gray. The bus rumbled through the streets, stopping and starting in the morning traffic. At the third stop, Emma noticed something unusual. Through the frosted window, she could see an elderly man sitting on a bench in the small alley beside a brick building. His silver hair was dusted with snow, and he was hunched forward, holding his hand against his chest. Even from a distance, Emma could see dark spots on his coat. Blood. The bus doors closed. Emma's hand reached for the cord to signal the driver, then pulled back. She looked at her phone. 7:32. If she got off now, she would definitely be late. Maybe even miss the entire shift. Mrs. Patterson's stern face flashed through her mind, along with all the lectures about professional responsibility. But the old man was bleeding. Emma's hand moved before her mind fully decided. She pulled the cord, gathered her things, and stepped off the bus into the falling snow. Her heart pounded as she watched the bus pull away, taking with it her chance to arrive on time. She took a deep breath and hurried toward the alley. Sir. Emma called softly as she approached. Sir, are you all right? The man looked up, his weathered face creased with pain. His eyes were a striking blue, but they were clouded with distress. I'm fine, young lady. Don't trouble yourself. Emma knelt beside him, her nursing training overriding her natural shyness. You're bleeding. May I look at your hand? Reluctantly, the man extended his hand. A deep cut ran across his palm, still seeping blood. Glass glittered in the wound. I slipped on the ice, he explained quietly. Fell against the window. Broke the glass with my hand. Emma immediately opened her backpack, pulling out the small first aid kit she always carried. Her hands, usually trembling when she spoke to strangers, were perfectly steady now. This was something she understood. This was what she had been training for. I need to clean this, she said gently. It might sting a little. The old man watched her work with curiosity. Shouldn't you be somewhere? It's early for a young person to be out in weather like this. Emma's throat tightened. I was going to my clinical rotation. At the hospital. But, you needed help. She worked carefully, cleaning the wound, removing the tiny glass fragments with steady fingers, and wrapping his hand with clean gauze. The man was quiet, but his blue eyes never left her face. When she finished, she helped him to his feet and insisted on walking him to the nearby coffee shop, where it was warm. I'm Henry, the man said as they stood in the doorway. Henry Morrison. Emma-chan, she replied softly. Thank you, Emma-chan. You have a gentle touch. You make a fine nurse. His words were kind, but Emma felt tears prick her eyes. Would she even get the chance? She had missed her shift. Her entire semester might be ruined because she had stopped to help a stranger. The next morning, Emma walked into St. Margaret's Hospital with heavy steps. She had sent Mrs. Patterson an email explaining what happened, but she hadn't received a response. The other students were already gathered in the hallway, whispering among themselves and glancing at her curiously. Ms. Patterson appeared, her expression unreadable. "Miss Chen, please come with me." Emma followed her instructor down the corridor, her heart sinking with each step. They entered a small conference room where, to Emma's surprise, several people in professional attire were waiting. At the head of the table sat a man in an expensive suit. It took Emma a moment to recognize him without the snow in his hair and the blood on his coat. Henry Morrison stood and smiled warmly. "Miss Chen. Thank you for joining us." Ms. Patterson gestured for Emma to sit. "Emma, this is Henry Morrison. He's the CEO of Morrison Medical Group, which owns this hospital and 12 others in the region." Emma's mind reeled. The elderly man she had helped was not just anyone. He was one of the most influential people in Chicago's healthcare system. "I wanted to meet you properly," Henry said, his bandaged hand resting on the table. "Yesterday, I was walking to a meeting when I fell. I was alone, disoriented, and in pain. You missed your obligations to help a stranger who needed you. That tells me more about your character than any grade ever could." I exchanged a glance with Mrs. Patterson, who was smiling now. "Miss Chen, you're being awarded a full scholarship for the remainder of your nursing program. Additionally, we'd like to offer you a position in our accelerated nursing program for exceptional students." Emma couldn't speak. Tears rolled down her cheeks as the weight of worry lifted from her shoulders. "You showed me what nursing really means," Henry continued. "It's not about following rules blindly. It's about seeing someone in need and having the courage to stop, even when it costs you something. That's the kind of nurse we need. That's the kind of person who changes lives." Ms. Patterson placed a gentle hand on Emma's shoulder. "Your shift yesterday counted as community care experience. And for the record, that was some of the finest emergency first aid I've ever seen documented." As Emma left the hospital that afternoon, the snow was falling again, soft and steady. She looked up at the gray sky, feeling something new blooming in her chest. Not just relief, but confidence. She had trusted her instincts, followed her training, and helped someone when they needed it most. Sometimes the right choice wasn't the easy one. Sometimes kindness required sacrifice. But in that small act of compassion on a snowy street corner, Emma had found not just her future, but herself. She was going to be a nurse. A good one. And it had all started with the courage to pull the cord and step off that bus.